Welcome to Three Mums Podcast, hosted by Natalie, Anthea, and Sharlene. This is a space where you'll get nothing but real conversation. This is your moment to pause, have a laugh, get involved, and come on our journey. Open, honest, and free always. Hashtag the Three Mums Way.
How are we doing today, guys? How are we doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm tired. I'm not going to lie to you. It's Wednesday and I feel it. I feel it. I'm tired, but it's always good when I'm with my sisters, man. It's always good.
Yeah.
What about you, Shaz?
Yeah, guys, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit... I feel good, but I'm just a little bit frazzled today. Just had a bunch of things to do this morning. Talia and washing and all of that jazz. And then even to get ready, put a bit of face on it. It just feels like a lot, but so glad that this moment's come. All of that stuff is worth it for this moment right here. So it's just it's nice to hang with you guys.
Definitely. Well, Shaz, I'm going to hand over to you because it's, you will be sharing today. So over to you, Shaz.
Hi, everybody. It's great to be here again and chat. Well, in a previous podcast, you would have heard me talk about how I like me. And I kind of said a little bit about how, I do like Shasha and I'm in a good space. And I think it's important for me to kind of share how I've got to this place. I don't think you can know where you're going unless you know where you've been. And I was talking to my sister about this, what I'm going to talk about today, and she said I'm going to have to do some soul searching because it's just been so long since I've been in the space I used to be in. These ladies know all about it, but they're going to chime in and we're all going to share. So, growing up, I really struggled with just how I looked and my self-esteem. And I feel like we see loads of memes these days, like, love who you are. It's all over Instagram and all over social media. But guys, when you don't love yourself, it's mad, Like, honestly, I always say you have to live with yourself for 365 days a year, so you might as well like it. And if you don't like it, it just affects everything. It affects. Honestly, ladies, can you concur with that?
It affects everything. Every single thing.
I agree.
Everything, how you perform, how you interact, everything.
Yeah, how you interact with people. I think, loving who you are, it just takes away the competition from anything, because really you're just competing with you and you're not fussed whether anybody likes you. Obviously, I want to be liked. But truthfully, the place I'm at now, if someone doesn't like me, it doesn't think I'm great. Like, I think I'm great and God thinks I'm great, so I'm good. But I just really struggled with how I looked, particularly my body. So I don't know how I got to this conclusion. I can kind of pinpoint little bits and pieces, which I will say, but I just really hated my body, people. I just used to look in the mirror and just used to use words like my body's disgusting. And even just thinking back now, it actually makes me, because I'm just like, it's just so wrong to speak about yourself like that. Like, how can I be calling myself disgusting? And I'm sure there's people that can relate to this. I used to have, when I was little, I got a ringworm on my leg, and it just left this, to me, what seemed like, remember I said to me, what seemed like the biggest circle on my leg. I also was born with this massive birthmark, which is like super light on the inside of my leg. And so people in summertime and on holidays, I was crying because I won't wear shorts because I don't want to show my legs. I mean, actually, when we went to California,
there's no way.
And I just
she lived in jeans, like the whole, what was it, a 3-week holiday?
Yeah,
3 weeks in jeans, like,
Because I just could not.
It's like teens, isn't it?
Yeah,
this is teens.
This is teens.
Yeah. This is a childhood.
No, this is like probably from the age of 13, well through all my teenage years and into my early 20s. So it was into adult, into my adult years as well. But it was just so hard. Gosh, it's just so hard. I actually remember taking naps with me because I went to a laser surgeon because I wanted to get the scar removed. Good old Natalie, always there for me, always there to support. And it's so funny because she was like, Shah, if you want me to come with you. She never told me I should or shouldn't do it because that's how Natalie is. And I remember going to the laser surgeon and he looked at my leg and he was just like, he didn't say this, but he must have been thinking, little girl, why are you wasting my time? He looked at my leg and he was like, if I do anything to the scar, your mark on your leg could turn lighter than your actual skin color because it's so insignificant. Like, it's honestly, you can barely see it. But honestly, guys, we create narratives in our head. We tell ourselves things and we convince ourselves. And when you do it so often, it's the truth to you. So to me, my legs are just nasty. They're disgusting. And to add to that, I also kind of, when we look at magazines and stuff, we see these really perky boobies. And my boobies were just never like the perfectly perked boobs. They always had a slight little droop to them. The truth is, they're fine, and I love them now, and so does my husband. But back then, guys, I hated my breasts. I hated them. Even as I'm thinking about it now, man, it actually feels really horrible and hard because it's just such a horrible place to be in, to have such dislike for your body. And when I was actually digging back to how that started, I was kind of just like a really free child. When you're with your friends, I don't know if any of you guys can relate, but when you're little, sometimes you have little girls, friends, you have little sleepovers. And I remember I was having a sleepover with some friends of mine and I was just being silly. I think I just like took my top off and was like, played with them. When you just show each other your body when you're little. I don't know if anybody else did that, but yeah.
They're innocent. I'm just looking like, nah, but no. You're on your own.
In my innocence.
Like, I don't remember that stage.
Annie, Nat, did you have that? Did you have anything like that? But you were comfortable. You were more comfortable.
I was just comfortable. I wasn't a person who hit myself. If I had to change my top, I just changed my top. I wasn't like you. Definitely, I would happily skip across the room. I can't say I skipped across the room. Yeah, you were that you were that young person. But I wasn't shy. I just changed my clothes. It was not a thing. If I was in front of my girls, I whipped my bra off, changed my bra. I wasn't. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that innocence as well. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. So it wasn't in the same way as me. Oh, go on, Am. Yeah.
What about you, Am?
I can't relate at all. My earliest memories of, the whole boob situation, puberty and whatnot, I'm sure it was around 9 when the buds started to spring. And like, like my mum took me to the doctors and the doctor turned around and said, she's just starting puberty. Can you imagine? My mum.
No.
Yeah, because my breast had started to grow. And I think at the age of 9 going on 10, for me, I wasn't ready. I was not ready because I hadn't had that preparation. So I remember my mum, the little bra tank tops kind of thing. I refused to wear them. And I used to wear, because I was in denial, I would wear my little brother's vests, so tight, so it would suppress my breasts. Squash them, because I weren't ready to deal with the fact that my breasts were growing. And obviously years down the line, the effects that had to now, plus having children, that's another story. But boobs for me, I couldn't embrace them at that age. So nobody was showing them to anybody.
Wow.
Well, I love this. This is real. Well, I did. I actually remember this friend of mine, and she just kind of like, she looked at me and she was like, why do they look like that? And I actually remember it was from that day. I actually remember how I felt in that moment. I don't remember the exact age, guys. I was a teenager. And I just remember shrinking in that moment. I never told them. I think I went into the toilet and cried because her words, just this free little person, it's just so amazing how somebody's words can just affect you so much. And that was probably one of the biggest turning points where I started to really dislike them. And actually, these two friends, they had like really perky boobies. And my boobs look different to them. But can we just talk about the fact that boobs just look different? Like, where did we even get this narrative that boobs have to look the same? Boobs come in all shapes, all sizes. Well, there you go, Nats.
Yeah, but it's been fed to us. It's something that we were fed from childhood. Do you know what I mean? And if we look at life right now, let's be honest, not coming off your topic, Charles, but we grew up in an era with, you know, like the Pamela Andersons and the, do you get what I mean? Boobs was actually a big deal. Now it's bottoms. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So you know, we'll have to affirm our daughters to love their bottoms and love their, do you understand what I'm saying to you? Like now everybody's squatting and everybody's, do you know what I mean, getting BBLs and all of that stuff. So it goes back to even stuff that we did years ago, Sharlene, talk about that notion of perfectionism, but who is it that chooses what is currently a trend or what is like, who made that decision, and it's become the narrative across everybody. So yeah, that's what we were fed. That's what we saw. I remember Baywatch. Do you get what I'm trying to say to you? Back then, it weren't no cool to have a big bottom. It wasn't cool at all.
Not
so
at all. Not
yeah.
at all.
So true.
Whereas now, everybody and their mum and their dog what's a big bottom. So and it has to be packed and cocked and, do you know what I mean? You got to grab it, like seriously.
But it's funny because obviously from a child, Nats, you know I had that bum. Like
yeah, you always had bottom.
And you know, there's no grudge, but I do remember some family members saying, "Where you going with that bottom?" For some reason, that didn't bother me though. I kind of like brushed those comments off. But guys, we have to be so careful what we say to our children. And Nats does have a song with her daughter who has a body very similar to mine as a child, and her song is like, "Best bum in the world, the best thighs in the world." It's so funny. Her and Joelle sing the song and I join in, and we laugh about it, but it matters, the things that people say. So those words that particular friend, I hold no grudge. She was young, kids say things. And you know, that was the continuation of me just kind of really disliking my boobies. And that just went on for absolutely years. I just really didn't like, specifically my boobs. Like, just so you guys know, I do like them now. And the truth is, I've breastfed, so, you know, they've definitely gone a bit south, and I'm not ashamed to say that. Who cares? Let's just be honest. When we breastfeed our children, our boobs, what do you expect them to stay perked? And God bless me with another child, I'll be breastfeeding that child. But yeah, can we just normalize the transition of bodies as well? Like, it's normal for your body to change. And I just think it's such a beautiful thing when you can embrace that, the changes in your body. So moving on from there, I think that a big turning point for me was Chris, but it was actually just learning to love myself. And I remember Nats, your hen do. I so wanted to wear shorts. I liked the shape of my legs, but I just wouldn't wear anything. And I remember I was at Nat's house and, oh no, not Nat's house. I was at our house. Nats lived with me then. And Anthony, her then fiance, was there. And Natalie was like, Charles, put on the shorts. Let me just see how you look in these particular shorts. And I was like, no, it's going to look horrible. And she's like, Sharlene, put on the shorts. So I went in the mirror and she's like, your legs look lovely. And she called Anthony and I begged. I was like, please don't call Anthony. Because even though, guys, just so you know, we've known each other. So Anthony's obviously, you know, Anthea's brother. We've known each other since we were kids. So Anthony is literally like my older brother. That's how it is with him. He's been around for ages. I used to jump on him when I was a child. We used to laugh together. And so he literally got down. Natalie was like, Anthony, is there anything wrong with Charlene's legs? My brother-in-law got down and he looked at my legs. He was like, what? And I'm like, why are you acting like you can't see all the marks and the big old birthmark on the scar? And my bro was like, I can't see anything, Char. I'm going to be honest, sis. Like, guys just like to see soft skin. And for me personally, no hairs. I know that's preference. But yeah, he was like, guys like soft legs and no hairs. And there's nothing wrong with your legs. And you know what? It's not about having your self-esteem on a man giving you that affirmation. But for me in that moment, getting that affirmation from a male literally shifted things. Like, I started wearing shorts after that. I would still be conscious. Like, if I would, it might sound so stupid, but if I was going up like an escalator in a tube, I would literally be cringing because I'm like, everybody behind me is looking at this scar on my leg. It sounds so pathetic. I sound so stupid now.
It's not. It may sound it, but I can recall in my teen years having a hang up over my legs, because round about the time we were going to college and whatnot, the trend was like all the boys would be like, oh, if your legs are thick. My legs were not.
I remember that face.
My legs were I have skinny ankles to this day, and I can remember at the time, the fashion trend was like the disco shiny leggings, and you could get them in every color and whatnot. So I thought, you know what? There's no reason why I can't be a part of this trend too. So Anthea took herself to East Street Market and bought a variety of leggings, only to get home and to find that when I put the leggings on, it didn't have the fit. Number one, they were cheap. So the lycra in it wasn't the kind of clingy, fitted, like what it should be like. So all I can remember is putting on these leggings, and the ankles, they were like bootleg leggings. And I was, I need to have this look. All the girls, all my friends were rocking this, the disco leggings, their thighs. And I said, no, I want to be part of this trend. And I recall, guys, oh my gosh, I'm saying this on camera. It's good for the soul. I recall getting elastic bands. Yeah. And putting elastic bands round the cuff, the hem of my leggings, just so I could kind of taper it somewhat, because I was so determined. And it's just like, just to have that look. And the thing is, the length that we would go through, I went through, yes, I had to hang up, but I was like, okay, if I wore the leggings, and not only did I put the elastic bands around the leggings, guys, I wore more than one pair just to try and get the thickness.
Thicken up your leg, wow.
Yeah, seriously. And just because, at the time, like I said, the trend was for girls to have thick legs, and I weren't, that's what my body portion wasn't like that, wasn't like that. So it's that whole thing of like acceptance and and it changes like the wind. It changes like the wind. Now people want to have a thigh gap. It's
mad,
crazy. You can't keep up, John. You can't keep up.
No. And I have a thigh gap. It's so funny. Somebody mentioned that to me one day. I was like, I don't even know. When you don't notice something, it's just something that you don't really care about. You don't think about. But yeah, it's mad. That is hilarious, though, I'm not gonna lie.
Hilarious. Do you know what though? It's funny that we all have had a leg hang up at some point in our life. Whereas for me, my leg hang up wasn't. It was in childhood, but in a different way. I actually really loved my legs. They were something I had on show as often as possible. If I could wear shorts or a skirt or something like that, they were my asset.
I remember.
But do you know where there was a shift mentally? And never forget, because we used to do our sports day at Croydon Arena, and obviously I was like athletics. I love my sports, 100 meters, 200 meters, relay, basketball, netball, trampolining. Like, I love my sports. So I was muscular. Like, you couldn't pinch a piece of fat on my body. Like, I was ripped all over. And I never forget, like, as usual, I was jamming with the guys because I never was one to have loads of female friends. And we were up in like the stands, and we all had like, we were sitting on the bench, on the seats, and had our legs kind of up on the bars in front of us. And obviously, even though I'm with a bunch of boys out, that are my age, not every boy's body had developed a certain way. Even though they might have been highly athletic or sporty, there was maybe, I'd say, out of all of us, 2 boys who almost had quite a manly shape, like, or shape to their legs. But most boys had quite straight, spindly legs still at that age. They hadn't developed in that area. And I had my leg up, and this one boy was like, oh, nah, my God, look at your leg. Like, I went to like punch my leg to like make the point of how hard the muscle was, because I just had it up on the bar, but the cuts of muscle in my leg at 14, 15 years old. And I didn't have an issue with it until he highlighted it to that moment. And like you say, Sharlene, it's that thing of kind of, I internalized it. So I was still cool with my legs and still fine with them, but I didn't realize until as I got older. Like, I remember going to college now and wanting to be desired, and knowing that my body was quite muscular, but didn't obviously want to gain any weight. But I almost made a conscious effort to like stop working out as much. So I started college and hardly did any sports, and my body just kind of softened a bit, and I loved it at that stage. Do you get what I mean? And then fast forward a few more years, and it's just the weirdest thing. I hit my late 20s now, mid to late 20s. Body's, starting to change a little bit. To someone, I'm saying to you, I had my son at 27, and I've gone from this girl who absolutely loved her legs to now disliking them so much because I just think I've always had thighs, like always had thighs. Do you understand what I mean? So they've gone from being these super toned thighs that I loved until a comment was made, and then I wanted it to soften a bit, to now me. I literally wish I could have spoken to that younger self. Like I desired that toned leg look again. And it was just like, how do I get back there? And then I almost spent time wasted begrudging that version of myself, like wishing I'd known to love that version of myself. It's crazy. And then even in that moment of self-love, I had to go through a period where I physically forced myself to show my legs, even though I hated it, just because I knew that what I thought I saw in the mirror was a lie. I knew in my heart
that's the power, though. Sorry to cut you, sis. You forced yourself like me. I forced myself. There's so much power in doing that.
Yeah. Like, it's just, I had no choice. And now it's not a thing. Like, I'm big, technically, 38 years old. I'm the biggest I've ever been in my life. Do you get what I mean? I don't have those leg hang-ups. Like, it's crazy. Yet when I was like super slim, and you know what I'm trying to say here, you had all these, and I guess that comes with time. It comes with growth. It comes with getting to know yourself better and love yourself better, and a deeper acceptance of what you are. And also knowing that, it's within your power to actually change something more often than not that you don't like. But you can change it externally. If the root and the seed isn't sorted, it's not going to make any difference. So, it's amazing that we've all got leg stories.
Char, I was going to ask the question that you were making a point about when you met Chris, and you said that there was a turning point prior to that, but knowing that you had such I say a low value in terms of how your body looked and whatnot, how did you find it then, being getting married?
I mean, there's definitely more to the story. So I used to think to myself, like, when I get married, my husband's just gonna I'm gonna take my wedding dress off and he's gonna be like, oh, what have I done? Again, I feel so stupid as I'm saying it now. But I actually remember when we were dating, I was just hanging out with Chris, and it's funny, guys notice things. So I've never really been one for cleavage. I've never really been one to show my boobies. It's just not what I've really done, partly because I didn't like my boobs. So Chris would always notice that whenever we'd hang out, I would always just be covered up. And I just remember one day he sat me on his lap, because, obviously in summertime, you might have a vest on and you might be it's just normal. You have a bit of cleavage. Like, we're adults here. It's not like I'm showing all my boobs, and he was just like, I can see that you're always hiding. And I was just like, no, this guy did not just say this to me. Like, he just literally called me out. He called me out and he was like, he looked me in my eye, I'll never forget it. And he just held my hand and he was like, you don't ever have to hide from me. I absolutely love your body. I love every part of you and I love your boobies. So you don't have to hide from me.
Wait. Did he say the word boobies?
Probably not. He probably said, I love your breasts. He never said boobies, but he probably said, I love your breasts or something. Obviously, he's about to marry me, so he loves every part of me. But guys, that was just, the most freeing moment. So that was a massive part of me just loving myself. And honestly, from then until now, before I got married, I've never really thought twice really about my boobs. But just to kind of go back slightly again, I actually remember feeling so jealous of other women. And one of the people I was so jealous of, which is so crazy, and it's, again, it's nuts that I'm saying this, was my big sister. And it's like, she's my sister. My sister was an amazing big sister, but I was just, you just heard her talk about how nice her body was. Let me just give you some more context. My sis had 4-pack from she was 10 or something. I did not have 4-pack. I had a little flab pack, okay? So I wasn't fat, but I was a little bit chubby. And again, looking back at pictures, I was talking to Nats and there was nothing wrong with me, but my sister's body was just banging. And I was so jealous of her. Actually, remember that time when Sharlene came round and my mum had bought us these tops? I was so mean to my sister. Again, well into my teenage.
It was the skirts.
I remember mummy bought us these 2 polo neck jumpers, a bright beige one and a red one.
Yeah,
and this particular day, there was 2 occasions, but this particular day, we wanted to borrow mine. I don't think I'd worn it yet. But nonetheless, I need you to understand that my sister is the big sister to a lot of women, but she was an amazing big sister to me from day, and I was so mean to her because I was jealous. Now, I'm bringing this up because amongst women, jealousy is a real thing, and it's so deep that my biggest jealousy hang-up was with my own flesh and blood. And it's embarrassing to say it, but that's what happens when you don't love yourself. When I began to love me, when I began to, I'm kind of skimming through the story, but fast forward to about the age of 23, I remember I went to something called Versatile Fitness, which was this hardcore workout in the park with a guy called Chris. He's now called Christopher Savage on Instagram. Natalie's good friend, they went to school together. And honestly, from that day till now, I talk about it on Instagram and stuff. I love working out because the way working out makes me feel and the way that my body transforms, like I'd never seen my body toned before. I remember going to H&M and picking up like a size 10 and being like, this doesn't look right. And Natalie was like, try the size 8. And I was like, whoa, the size 8 looks amazing on me. And I just got addicted to the joy I would feel from working out and actually taking control of how I want my body to look. It's a great, empowering feeling. But ladies, can you relate to being in a stage where you just feel jealous of another woman? It's horrible.
Honestly, no. I told you, I don't know if I've expressed to you guys, truthfully, the only time I recall being jealous, I was like 14 years old. Like anybody who can remember, we're going back to early 90s now or mid 90s. Kango was out at this time, and there was Kangaroo? Kangaroo brought out these like trainers, and I remember they had these tartan trainers, and oh my God, we love fashion. All 3 of us, you're gonna get to see this. Follow us on our IG at @3mums, at @3_mums, and you're gonna see fashion from us 3 because we love fashion. But from this young age, I remember wanting these tartan kangaroo trainers, and there was a girl in my school, and she got them before me, and I was good friends with her. And literally for nearly a week, I couldn't even talk to this girl in school. Like she didn't have no clue. I felt like I couldn't talk to her. Like I was so jealous because like I just felt like there was, them key girls that always got certain name brands before you did. Do you know what I mean? I know I've got to save up for it, or wait till an event or a birthday or something. Do you get what I'm trying to say to you? And I was just, and I never forget being in a mood, a funk all week. Even most of me snapping at Sharlene, being quite withdrawn with my parents. And I remember sitting in front of the mirror. And looking at myself and talking to myself in the mirror in my bedroom. And I was like, what is wrong with you? And I was able to come to the resolve that, oh my gosh, I am jealous of this girl because she has something I don't have. Do you get what I mean? And I was like, but that doesn't mean she's better than you. Do you get what? And I literally at 14 years had this conversation with myself. So I'm not going to say that I'm exempt from jealousy trying to rear its head multiple times in my late teens and my early 20s, but I will have that same conversation with myself. They have that. It doesn't mean that they're better than me. Also, the older you get, you realize that you don't know what someone did to get something. Yeah. You don't know what someone's doing to maintain what they've got. And I just truly believe that when your heart is right, it's going to come around, it's going to find you. Do you understand what I mean? Good will find you in whatever capacity you're from. So no, personally, I don't entertain jealousy, and I don't like people who are jealous around me either, because it's toxic. It's toxic. So yeah, what about you, Bam?
I can't say that I've been jealous. I could say that I've envied, and this was at school. But this envy was so ridiculous. It was because my hair didn't move. My hair...
No, that's not a ridiculous envy at all. Speaking from a hairdresser, I get that one.
Seriously, I wanted the hair that moved. And I didn't have hair that moved. And I just remember, my mum...
Sharlene.
I mean...
Did I join in?
At the time, it was literally, my mum, bless her, she didn't really have much hair education. It was very much, it was very much that applied in big quantities. And yeah, it was just like, yeah, it was more of a, I think it was more, I felt embarrassed more than anything. And then to see other girls, specifically black girls around me with hair that just looked healthy and whatever, it was just a hair envy. But, you know, that aside, I'm not gonna lie, Charles, I don't envy anybody. I'm not jealous of anybody. And I think the point that Nat's made is that people can see, you know, how somebody appears, you know, how they carry themselves. They get a small insight, and off the back of that, they then, you know, create their own idea of
conclusion.
who you are. And then you can then start to sometimes see a change towards you, like their attitude can change towards you. And like I said, like sometimes people generally just don't even know what it's taken for you to get out of your bed that morning, for you to step out the door, and even just to be in that place. So I'm all about, like Natsa said, you know, just celebrating other people, celebrating their wins, because in essence, you're actually blocking good things coming to you.
One more thing before you say.
No, I love it.
I literally was going to say, even in terms of your legs, Char, you know, it's crazy to think that you've maybe encountered women now to see this version of you now, and might even be envious of this free version of Sharlene. And it's like, guys, you don't know the work she put in to get to this point. Like serious breaking of mental strongholds have had to go in to get to the version of Sharlene that loves herself regardless. So yeah, put in the work, guys. Put in the work. And if you identify any of those traits in yourself now, yeah, it's time to walk in that freedom, because it's bondage. It's bondage, like
absolute bondage. Yeah. Just to kind of have a little last roundup of this story, I have to be real, guys, that the last piece of the puzzle is just God. Honestly, like my relationship with God, my favorite scripture is Psalms 139, and that scripture just talks about how, you know, God formed us and knitted us, and how, you know, we mean so much to him. Like, you know, when you think of a grain of sand, you can think a grain of sand so it's insignificant, and it just talks about how much God just absolutely adores us. And it's just one of my favorite scriptures. I used to read it. I don't read it as much now. When I have a wobbly, I might, but I used to read that scripture all the time. And God just began to affirm me and just let me know how great I am. I actually remember just praying and kind of like hearing him speak to me, and just, it's just the best feeling when, you know, you can honestly say, I love me, and forget, you know, she thinks she's too nice, because I've heard those kind of things. And again, like you guys said, you just don't know someone's journey. And just to say, like you said, people could be looking at me and thinking whatever they're thinking. I actually remember somebody messaging me on Instagram. I don't know who this girl is. It was about a year ago. And she said, I'm going to be honest, you don't know me. I've been following you for a few years, and I really hated you, disliked you. Just to come on your page just to see what you're doing.
Wow.
I was really, really jealous of you, jealous of your relationship, I'm thinking, this person does not even know me. And then she said, but I've realized as I've been watching you that you are such a light, and you're such a joyful, beautiful person. And I just want to apologize. I don't have to, but this is for me. I just want to come on here and apologize for how I felt about you. Like, you are, I don't know you, but you come across so genuine, so warm. And the truth is, you shine because you're such a joyful, happy person. And I get so inspired by you. So honestly, it's real. Like, you do not know the journey that people have had, and I will not hide it. I love my toe, I love my leg, I love my ears, I love my ears hole, I love my nose hole. I like all of me, and it's helped me with my performing. It's helped me when I'm navigating certain circumstances. When you value yourself, other people value you. When you step into a room, you actually release what you carry is what you have. So if you don't feel good about yourself, you can try to pretend, you can fake it a little bit, but people can feel that. And so there are things that I do to help that, like doing my hair, like wearing nice clothes. These things help me to feel better about myself. But forget all the clothes, forget all the hair. It's all about how you feel inside. And when you know who you are, and when you love who you are, it's so much easier for other people to love you, and you can love other people with a real, true love, and you don't need to be envious of somebody else. There are tons of people I could list right now who are succeeding in ways I would love to succeed. There are so many people who can probably sing better than me, or, you know, they just have what I want right now. There are things that I desire in my life, and I am not jealous. I love to celebrate people because I know that what I carry is great. And so I don't need to be jealous of your shine. And what you're called to do is not what I'm called to do. So you navigate your space and I will navigate my space. That was really vulnerable for me, ladies. That was
really
like,
good. It was really good, sis.
That's good.
But that's what this is all about, man.
That's what it's about. Open, honest, and free conversation.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter @3mums, except for Instagram, which is 3_mums. And make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube.
I have so many questions.